folks, Loki here. Yeah, today what I'm going to do is just give you a very, very basic introduction to PvP, about getting there and match choices, etc., and some of the things that are in and around the PvP lobby. Now, you can access the PvP area regardless of whether you're a free-to-play player or you have all the expansions, but from anywhere interior, using your option up here on the top left to cross swords take you into PvP. Now I'm currently in the PvP lobby, so it's telling me I can exit. You can do that from anywhere interior. And when you do, you're going to land right about here. Okay, so you're here and you go, right, well, surely there's a tutorial to, tell me what to do and how I navigate this. Now, there's this guy here, and if you look up useless in the dictionary, there's a picture of him. This guy is going to tell you absolutely jack shit about PvP. So, look, he'll tell you about crap that's around in the PvP area, so, have a listen to him if you want, but he's really not going to be that helpful. Okay, now for this video, I will be talking about Conquest, and in fact, any video that I do relating to PvP, it will always be about Conquest. There is another mode, and unless I get really, really motivated one day to have a major big rant, I will never be talking about Stronghold. Okay, so we've landed in the PvP lobby and we're like, okay, what do I do now? Alright, up the top middle of the screen, you've got two buttons here. One is PvP build, the other is play PvP. You hit those swords and this is where you queue up for a match. Now you can either queue in unranked or ranked. Now, to queue in the ranked arena, you must reach a PvP level of 20. And you'll see down here in the very bottom left, see that little number there? That's my PvP rank. So once that hits 20, you can then access the ranked arena. I'm going to talk about seasons a little bit later. For now, I just want to focus on how you get in there. Okay, so when you first start PvP, the only option you'll have is to play unranked, and that's where you learn how to not be a numpty and the basics of play and strategy, etc. And yes, I will be doing videos on that in the coming weeks. Now, next up, sorry, I should have left that open. You've got, during ranked season, or actually all the time, you've got tournaments. Now, there's 4 daily tournaments and then 1 monthly tournament. The daily tournaments, all you need to do is team up with 4 of your best mates and you can compete in any of the daily tournaments. To compete in the monthly tournament, you must have 100 qualifying points. And how you get those is by competing in the daily tournaments. But if you're just starting out in PvP, don't focus too much on tournaments because you're going to have more than enough to deal with just, getting through regular matches, etc. Now, there are 9 maps for Conquest mode, and 7 of those are used in ranked play. They're in the ranked map rotation. I have put there's a list of them in the description, and a few of them I have linked through to a very helpful video about various kiting spots and port spots, etc. on those maps. As you get further into PvP, that's all going to make a lot more sense. I've also, in the description, I've given you a link to something I've called PvP terminology. You'll hear a lot of this if you watch my stream, I talk about, you know, plus running and capping and, you know, all the things that I lament and whatnot in chat. You'll, you know, that'll get you up to speed on that. There are a few concepts within, you know, what we talk about in terminology that I want to do specific videos on, such as, you know, when to cleave and when to stomp, you know, rotation on the map, skill rotations, etc. They will all be covered in more detail over the coming weeks. I've also included in the description here a link to Anet's oh so super helpful forum post about if you're new to PvP. So apart from this video, there is a lot there for you to take in. Consider it extracurricular information. It's all there if you want to know more. Or you can simply leave a comment, ask me a question, and I will try and address it in a video in the future. Now, let's talk about unranked and ranked. As I said before, we've got these two modes, unranked and ranked. Now, currently, ranked, a season runs about 8 weeks. You can see here that the next season is starting on June 12th. It'll run for about 8 weeks, and then there'll be a 2-week break. While you can access ranked once you reach a PvP rank of 20, my advice is don't be in a hurry to get into ranked or to play in the seasons, because there is a steep learning curve. Like, Conquest is very simple in its concept, but it's one of those things, it looks easier, it's harder to execute. So before you go jumping into ranked and leaving yourself open to some of the most toxic, nasty comments you'll ever see, make sure you know your shit. Hone your skills in unranked. Unranked is the place to make mistakes, to learn what to do, what not to do, how to be, you know, you can test builds in there. Nobody gives a crap what happens in unranked, right? So that's where you go to do all your testing, whether it's testing your skills, a build, a strategy, or whatever. Do it in unranked. Now, ranked PvP in Guild Wars is not as competitive as it once was. Maybe one day I will do a history lesson video on the esports scene and what happened to Guild Wars PvP, but for today we're not going to worry about that. Alright, so we're not going to be in a hurry to get into ranked, but, you know, once you get there, please be sure you have a clue, because, you know, look, it's frustrating for players on your team, and it's frustrating to yourself if you go play ranked before you really know what you're doing. It's no fun for anybody. And the worst thing is, you know, because there is that learning curve, if you go into rank too soon, all you're going to do is sabotage yourself, have a really shitty experience, and go, I don't want to do this. This is no fun. So, you know, save yourself that. Okay. But once you get into ranked, the seasons are, you know, 8 weeks sounds like not a long time, but if you're having a crappy season, it can feel like eternity. But, you know, that leads me into talking about the rewards and whatnot you can get doing PvP. Now, when you open your PvP tab, slot, menu, thing, whatever we want to call it, down here you got different things, you know, there's different tabs to it. So this is your main one where you queue for either unranked or ranked. The next one is about the league, and I'm going to talk about their rewards in a second. Then you've got tournaments, which we've touched on, And then next up, we've got reward tracks. Now, there is some controversy about PvE and, you know, dungeon, all sorts of things that are added as reward tracks in PvP that aren't strictly PvP. But every time you play a match, whether you win or lose, whether you play ranked or unranked, you earn X amount of points that progress your reward track. And you earn little goodies as you go along. And then there's, you know, at the end of that reward track, there's some nice big bonus. Okay. So that's, you know, I do play PvE, not so much these days, but I have very successfully farmed PvP reward tracks for stuff that I want in PvE. Whether it's, you know, map currency, dungeon currency, certain skins, or, you know, come for Winter's Day, there is a reward track for that. You can't see it right now. Unlocked, right? So you got the Winter's Day reward track, and you can farm the crap out of that for karma, which I have done. So there's all sorts of goodies that you can earn through reward tracks. Okay, and you get that whether it's ranked, unranked, win or lose. Okay, so it's, you know, losing can be rewarding, not as quickly, but, you know, you will still get something for it. Now, when you're playing ranked during the season, you have all these other rewards. And it starts off, you know, blah, 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 and we move along until you finally get to this chest. And this one is repeatable, as it says there. Now, what you're going to get out of these last 3 chests is, you'll see here where it says a box of Grandmaster marks. Okay, you can earn a maximum of 3 of these per season. And what you can do with them is, if we come over here to our section of League vendors, you can, if you want, put that towards buying ascended gear, whether it's armor you get from this dude, or if we go over here, you can buy weapons. So if you're a brand new player to Guild Wars, and you don't, you know, you're not so into crafting, or you don't have the time to go farming mats, etc., you can use PvP as a means of, you know, acquiring that stuff. But keep in mind, you can only earn 3 marks per season. And you're going to need, I can't think of the number off my head, but that's 10. You're going to need 20. So it's a few seasons you've got to play to do it. But, you know, as I said, if PvE is something you only do on the side, you might as well be ticking it over here in PvP. Okay, you can also create PvP only minis, and of course then there's the legendary backpack. The other thing with the armor that you can get through here, you can also create a legendary set of armor out of that. Check the official Guild Wars 2 wiki for details on how to do that. Now, one last thing that I'm going to mention before I finish up this video. Now, you know that we haven't played, we haven't done anything. I've just shown you around how to get there, given you a bit of advice on when to play ranked and when to play unranked. You know, the last thing I'm going to mention is gear and builds. Now, up here, as we saw earlier in the video, you've got your PvP build. Regardless of what level you are in the PvE world, when you enter PvP, you are brought up to level 80. All gear and equipment is leveled, normalized at that level. And anything that you select, you'll see some sigils and runes that are They've got the same name that you might be using in PvE, but they may have slightly different stats. That's because in PvP, it's a totally separate build, and what ArenaNet have tried to do is to make it sort of more balanced. You know, this is how they balance things, is by, you know, maintaining a completely separate build. I will do a video about gear and builds, but it's something that I'd like to go into more detail, so I'm not going to do that today. Alright, so that's pretty much it. That shows you how to get in there, what you can get out of it, and I hope that that is useful for someone. Over the next few weeks, I will be adding to this. If at any time, you know, there is something that you want me to address or that I haven't made clear in a video, then, you know, just drop a comment, let me know, and I will get to it as soon as I can. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. I hope that you got some help out of that. And, you know, if you like what you see, hit subscribe, and, you know, you'll never miss out on any of my videos. So until then, guys, have fun hunting numpties, and take care.